Yes, we are live. Good morning. The Swiss Gold Global Independent Business Owner Network Marketing Training, number 90, getting close to the milestone of 100. And sorry for being late, but somehow I started up the wrong hangout. I don't know what the heck happened there. But anyway, it is Wednesday, January 28th, 2015. Good morning, Mr. John Luyster.
Good morning, Mr. Paul Romero. Very exciting to be on this hangout this morning, especially after an amazing morning call with our mentor Jeff this morning. I know we talked about chapter 6, and Paul probably has something prepared, but let me just start off by saying that if you're not on those morning calls with Jeff, send Paul or I a message. Email us either through going to Paul's website at wealthhealth.swissgoldglobal or go to mine, which is freedomforlife.swissgoldglobal.com. Send us an email and we'll let you know how you can participate in those mornings hangouts, because what Jeff talked about this morning is actually something I think is very important that we all begin to engage. But before I get started with a little bit about what Jeff talked about in the hangout this morning, I just want to ask everybody a question, give everybody some food for thought, and think about how much time you have when you subtract out the sleeping time, the commuting time, the time it takes that you spend at work, the time it takes, just feeding yourself and going to the bathroom and doing all the stuff you need to do to get your kids off to school if you do have kids, or all the time you spend doing the things that you have to do as opposed to the time you have to spend doing the things you want. And when you do have time to do those things, what do you have? Maybe 1-2 hours a day, Paul? And then let's just say you had all the time in the world. Would you actually have the money to do the things you wanted to do? Let's say that we've discovered a way for you to learn how to own your life with a home-based business. We have a system that is so simple that really anybody can learn this, anybody can do this. And it really doesn't require selling. And the best part is, it really won't take much of your time to get started. You wouldn't happen to know anybody that'd be interested in something like that, would you, Paul? I happen to be interested in the same thing myself.
Hey, I just want to say something there. I mean, John, you totally butchered it.
I know, but
seriously, no, but hey, listen, you totally butchered it as far as it's written in the book. But who cares? The point still came across. You still got the message out exactly. I mean, it still hit the same pinpoint inside here. It doesn't matter that you butchered it, and that's what this is all about, people. You can go out there and screw up. You can go out there and mess it up. You can go out there and fail and be successful. That's what the beauty of network marketing is. And you know what? So what? You mess up a little bit. You mess up a little bit. You pass it on and say, hey, you know what? I kind of messed that up a little bit. I really don't know what the heck I'm talking about because I'm brand new at this. Let me get you on the phone with Paul or John or Jeff or somebody, and let somebody who can, talk about this a little bit better than I can answer some of your questions for you. How easy is that? So piece of cake, right, John?
Absolutely. And Paul just hit it on the head. Yes, I kind of stumbled through it a little bit, but you know what? Every morning we're going to repeat this 45-second presentation here, because this is something that we want to get down, put in our own words, and get this message across. It's a great way to introduce Swiss Gold Global to people out there while you're prospecting. And as Paul said, which leads perfectly into something I'd like to talk a little bit about this morning, is that you succeed by failing in this business. And what he means is, as long as you're out there with a strong belief system and you're confident and you're going out and you're introducing people to network marketing and to Swiss Gold Global and to the system that we have developed here and that we were taught by our upline and that we're in part teaching you, that's the key to your success, is just having the confidence to open your mouth. And you know what? In the beginning, you're going to stumble through it, but that's okay. It's really more than okay. It shows that you're making an effort and you're learning and growing, and that's what this is all about. And as we showed in napkin presentation, I believe number 4, which is the picture of the guy running behind or starting up behind the whole mass of people, and then you have the one guy who's already got his business started, who's out in front. This is like a marathon network marketing, and as long as you don't give up, you're winning, you're succeeding. There is no losers or failures in this race. The only failure, the only loser are those who quit. And that's what's awesome and exciting about this system, and how it plays perfectly into what I want to talk about today is on this morning's call, Jeff had talked about the self-confidence formula.
Can I cut in for 1 second before you get started?
Yeah, absolutely.
I just want to say that I don't know. I'm trying something this morning here with the Google Plus Hangout. I did something that supposedly allows the audience to ask questions. So if you're out there watching and you have a question, please try to type it in if that's available to you. I'm not real familiar with all the technology here, but I think that's set up. I'd love to see some questions pop in. Go ahead, John.
Absolutely. Basically what we talked about this morning is something called the self-confidence formula, and it comes from the Napoleon Hill book, Think and Grow Rich, which we talk about quite often on these Hangouts because it's such a powerful book. Basically, the importance of this self-confidence formula and what I got out of it is that and we'll go through this, and what I've got out of this is that if you do this formula, and you have a formula for self-confidence, which is really auto-suggestion, which is basically saying phrases out loud, statements of power, doing affirmations, it actually does have a major impact on your ability to think positive and to develop self-confidence and be able to become the person you want to become. I'm just going to preface it by saying that. And the amazing thing about this is I learned about this in August of 2013. And I wish I can come on here and say that I've done this and said this out loud every single day since then, but I haven't. And I go through periods where I do it every day. Sometimes I do it every other day. Sometimes I'm doing once a week. And here, this being talked about this morning actually reinvigorated me the importance of doing this self-confidence formula every day. So we'll get into this a little bit, but I want to toss it back to Paul just to get his take on that. And then I have a copy here that I've printed out, and I can go through, without rushing through it, what the steps of this self-confidence formula is. So why don't you kind of reiterate, Paul, the importance of affirmations and having, saying things out loud, and how we have the ability to program our minds, literally.
Well, I mean, it's it's right there in the Napoleon Hill prayer, which we say at the end of this show every day, which is the ability to control and direct my own mind to whatever end I desire, because we do, each and every one of us does have that ability. I mean, you are the captain of your own ship, and the course that you choose to sail is all your choice. And, you can choose to have a destination and go from point A to point B, or you can choose to drift with the wind and the tides and end up wherever life takes you. That's really kind of how it works. So the self-confidence part of this is the ability to say, hey, you know what? I'm here now. I want to be there, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there, and to have the confidence to go out there and actually apply and do what it takes to get there. And realistically, the self-confidence is the one factor. The lack of self-confidence is the one factor that prevents everyone from moving in the direction that they want to go in. That's the lack of self-confidence is what allows you to let doubt and fear and worry creep into your process of achieving what you desire. And when you let the doubt and the worry and the fear creep into your thought process, because it all begins and ends up here, So when you let those things creep in, and they, diminish your confidence, which is what they do, because I mean your confidence is positive power. Because if you're confident and you're going in the direction you want, you're positive that you're going to get there, which is part of these auto suggestions, is bringing yourself to believe that you are positive, that you're going to make it there. And when you allow the doubt and the fear and the worry to creep in, the negative and draw you away from that, and it weakens your self-confidence. That's why these auto-suggestions are so powerful, so that you can continue to reinforce the positivity and push those negative factors away.
Absolutely. And you know, everybody does have a full potential. Unfortunately, according to Napoleon Hill, 98% of people will never reach that full potential. And according to, what's his name, another one of our favorites, gosh, the guy from the 50s, Earl Nightingale, says it's 95%. So he's a little bit more hopeful. I would say, in my opinion, you know, 2 to 5% of the people that are out there will ever fully reach their full potential. And maybe that's because they don't have a roadmap or a guide or a mentor or somebody that's giving them the positive influence and kind of motivating, not motivating, but encouraging them to go in the right direction. What is it? They say 88% of everything we encounter on a daily basis is negative. So that's why I believe affirmations and this self-confidence formula that I'll run through, there's 5 steps to it. We probably won't get to all 5. Hopefully maybe we can get through 1. But why, you know, repeating these auto-suggestions and consciously working on programming your mind is so important because of all the negative things that exist out there that slow us down and put roadblocks in front of us. And we have to program ourselves and to be warriors and overcome those roadblocks, is we all have a full potential that we can reach. We just have to believe that we can reach it. So with that being said,
this very first one is actually the very first one is what really propels you toward thinking in that direction. What you're talking about as far as building, you know, the confidence in yourself to believe that you can move forward. The same thing I was just talking about, which I, you know, prefaced in that. So why don't you go ahead and give us the first one, John?
Absolutely. Well, the first part of the Napoleon Hill self-confidence formula is you say to yourself, I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action towards its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. And I'm going to say it one more time in case there's some people that want to write that down. And again, you can find this in the Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich book, or send me or Paul a message and we'll send you a PDF of this. Is number 1 is I know that I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action towards its attainment, and I here and now promise to render such action. And I want to point out that the 2 most important key parts of that auto-suggestion statement there is demand and promise. You're demanding of yourself, and you're promising yourself to follow through with that demand. And that's the power. That's a program sent to your subconscious mind. And you know, maybe you haven't developed, you know, those of you who are watching don't really know what your definite purpose is in life, but believe that you have one and that you're going to figure it out. This will actually come into number 2 here in just a moment, but start thinking about what your definite major purpose is and believe that if you demand of yourself continuous persistent actions to achieve that, then you will attain it, and promise yourself that you will render such actions. And, you know, reword this in a way that resonates with you or makes it powerful for you. I actually use exactly the phrasing that was taught to me because I think it just is spelt out perfectly. I'm going to toss it back to Paul here to kind of give his take on that first element of the self-confidence formula.
Well, I'm going to go off of a little thing that you started right there. You chose 2 words out of this that you think are very powerful, demand and promise. I'm going to pick 2 more out of here that I think are also just as powerful, and that is know and continuous. Because this part of this whole thing, and by saying this over and over and over again, is the fact that within yourself, you bring yourself to the ability to know within you, without a doubt, without a shadow of a doubt, you know. There's no question. There's no I wonder. There's no I wish. There's no I hope. There's no I think. There's no I want. I know I know is super powerful. When you know you have the ability to do this, to achieve the object of your definite purpose in life, when you know you have that ability, all you got to do is go out and apply it. But then I demand of myself the consistent and continuous, never ending, means I will not stop until I am there. I will never give up. It is what I am going to have, and I shall have it regardless of what it takes me to get there. Continuous action, continuous demand, continuous promise to yourself. So I just wanted to say that, hey, you know what? Within this, there's a couple of other key little elements and phrases to this, because I mean, just think about the power of this. I know I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Okay, I know I have it. There's nothing. There's no doubt. There's no doubt within me that I can achieve definite purpose in my life. Therefore, I demand of myself consistent, continuous action towards its attainment. So I demand of myself that continuous action. There's no fear. You're going to do it without question. And I promise to render such action. I think I'm missing something there, but I promise to render such action. You know what I mean? No worry, you're going to do it. So I mean, it's amazingly powerful.
It is. It's a totally powerful statement. And as I kind of preface is, say this whether or not you even have you even have defined your definite purpose. And this next statement is actually kind of gonna if you follow this next auto suggestion, this will help you to develop your definite purpose. And this second part of the formula is that you say to yourself, I realize that the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. So let's break that down real quick because we only have a minute. But what you think about, you become. Earl Nightingale talks about that in The Strangest Secret, which you can Google, and it's an awesome little 40-minute presentation. That's the main cornerstone to the book Think and Grow Rich. And it's not just about your finances, what that thinking and growing rich is about. It's about all areas of your life, but the dominating thoughts of your mind. You become what you think about most. So if you can get in the habit of thinking about what your definite major purpose is, who you want to be for 30 minutes a day and have a clearly defined mental picture of the person you want to become and what your purpose is, and you constantly, daily repeat an affirmation or an auto-suggestion like this, and clearly think about and visualize the person you want to become, there's only one possible outcome, and it's that you will become that person. Because what you think about, you become. This is another extremely powerful statement. And it's one of the things we need to do in life, and a reason why 98%, 95 to 98% people will not reach their full potential is because they don't know who they are. They don't know what they want or who they want to be. And clarity leads to power, and you need to be clear. So I'm going to toss it back to Paul, his final thought, and then Paul, we're running out of time, so after you give your final thought, you can close us out with our Napoleon Hill prayer.
All right. Well, yeah, I will say, too, that like John mentioned, even if you are unsure of your definite purpose in life at this time, this portion right here will help you develop that in such that just as much as what John says that what you think about the most you will become, well, if you aren't sure what it is that you want to become, what you think about the most, you shall also attract. So thereby thinking about, your dominating thoughts, realizing that what you think about the most is going to attract into your life people, events, and things that are going to direct you towards where you want to go. And so constantly be thinking about, what am I thinking about? You know, I mean, you can't let this bean wander. You got to figure out what it's thinking about in there. You got to know what yourself is thinking about, and continually look at what your thoughts are, and where are your thoughts taking you, and do I need to change my thoughts? And so realizing that what those thoughts are is going to create, eventually turn into your physical activity, might get you to thinking about a few things in a different manner, in such that you can then start drawing in the types of, people, events, and things into your life that are going to take you, off the path that where you maybe are right now, that you realize you really don't want to be on, and switch directions for you towards the path that you really do want to be on, even though maybe you really don't know what that path is right now. At least it can get you off the one you're on and headed back into the right direction. You might have to stumble through the forest a little bit before you come across this path and go, oh, here's the one with the golden bricks, you know. So yeah, this is a great thing for the development as well too. And like John said, not just becoming what you want, but also attracting into your life what you want. So with that, we shall end today with the Napoleon Hill prayer, which goes, O universe, I ask not for more riches, but for more wisdom, with which to make better use of the riches given to me at birth, consisting of the power to control and direct my own mind to whatever ends I might desire. All right, everybody. Sorry for being late. We'll see you tomorrow for the open mastermind at 8 a.m. right here. That's 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, USA. All right.